I'll wait a few seconds for a couple more people to get in here before we kick off the show. Happy 2026 to everyone. We definitely locked in. Happy New Year's, man, to everyone who's locked in with 5 Star in Vegas. I appreciate you all. Hope everyone is having a great 2026, man. Give it a few more minutes. Shout out my boy Nick. What it do, Nick? Always a member of the wagering world. My boy McD just said he's done being hard on Mendoza. Yeah, I've been told you about Mendoza. What's up, Nick? Always a member of the wagering world. Day one right there. Shout out my boy Nick in Mo City. I'll give it a few more minutes. I want to let a couple more of the people get up in here before we kick off this live show. I won't be long. A lot to talk about. I'm going to try to fit it in within 1 hour. Clyde says he's having a great New Year's. His ex-girlfriend is not. Hey, man, with the new year comes new opportunities. I always remember that. All right, I'm going to give it a few more minutes, guys. You guys be patient with me. I want to allow a couple more people to get in. I'm late as usual. Hopefully, I'm late for my funeral as well. Kick this show off. Put your comments up. One deep today, like Zero to Crooked, man. So I got plenty of time to interact. Sometimes when I have guests on or co-host, it's very hard to interact with you guys because, I got to kind of go back and forth with them. But when I'm by myself, man, it's always my time to spend some quality time with my community and, get a little personal with you guys, answer some questions, get a little back and forth. I really enjoy it. All right, let's go on and kick off the show, man. What's good, wagering world? It's your boy 5 Star in Vegas, and I'm broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. This is the wagering world. Man, long time no see. I haven't seen a lot of you guys in a second. I've been on a long vacation ever since my 11-year-old's birthday. When he turned 12 on his birthday, Ian, who's like the junior CEO of the wagering world. His birthday was December 22nd, and actually my other two kids start on November 21st and November 30th. So, man, the house gets extremely busy around Thanksgiving. Me and the wife are always running, like from that moment on. So I've been just enjoying time with the family. Been kind of hard to get back into work mode, man, but I'm here now, and I'm ready to talk some sports betting with you guys, some college football with you guys. So much is currently going on in the sports betting world. It is ridiculous, man. Just a lot going on. We just wrapped up the 12 days of Christmas. Hopefully, all you guys were able to be a part of the 12 days of Christmas as we really ate, man. We did really well during that time. We go 9-3 on the 12 days of Christmas, and I also threw in an extra play with FCS championship. You guys know I love the FCS, man. And I threw in Illinois State, one of the better championship games that we've seen over the years that we were able to witness on Monday night. That was a real fun watch right there. I never had any sweat about Illinois State coming back. That's what they've been doing the last half of the season. A lot of crazy stuff going on right now with the transfer portal. I don't know why college football decides to do the transfer portal from January 2nd to January 16th in the midst of the college football playoffs. You got some kids who are getting opportunities at life-changing money, and they're having to walk away from their teams, and coaches with life-changing opportunities like you saw with Lane Kiffin having to leave Ole Miss, and now Ole Miss is on the verge of maybe getting to the championship game, all because the timing is all messed up with college football. The NCAA is a dinosaur that needs to become extinct like the dinosaurs. The NCAA is just a mess, man, and they just don't understand how to deal with the level of college football has gotten to now. It's more like semi-pro football more than college now. You don't have too many collegiate athletes anymore. Most of these guys are just prepping to be pro, and when now the money opportunities that are available for them, I mean, how can I knock a kid who's in the middle of going to the championship, as for instance, like Mekhi Hughes, who plays for Oregon? He came from Tulane, goes to Oregon, thinks that he's going to be the guy, ends up kind of getting left out the mix, and now he gets some money to go play at Houston. Of course he's going to dip. Like, you know, these guys are, your whole reason for going to college is to get to a point where you can earn more money as an adult, you know. And so I don't really knock these kids for doing what they have to do. Some of these kids are getting $4 million, as we saw with Brendan Sorsby going to Texas Tech, and he's not even worth that amount of money, if you ask me. He's very much like John Mateer, a guy with electric feet that makes splash plays, but not consistent throwing at all. Much like Mateer, has a lot of difficulty completing passes. He misses a lot of layups. So Sorsby got $4 million. They're saying they might offer Dante Moore $7 million to stay at Oregon. You got stories like this kid, Damon Williams. You guys know, if you watch the show long enough, that I'm very high on Damon Williams from Washington. He's under my guy, Jed Fish. Well, Damon Williams jumped in the portal, and Washington now is saying, nah, you got to stand up with the contract we just gave you. We gave you a $4 million contract. And he's like, nah, I'm out. He's like, I got an opportunity here. He probably did not anticipate that Lane Kiffin would have the issues he's been having at LSU with getting a quarterback. I think Lane Kiffin kind of had already thought in his mind that Ole Miss would probably lose in the first round, and at the minimum the second round, and that Trinidad Chambliss, since he was the guy that found him and brought him to Division I college football from Division II Ferris State, that he would follow him to LSU. And even Trinidad Chambliss said in the interview that initially that he thought he probably was going to go to Baton Rouge with Lane Kiffin. Well, that doesn't end up working out that way, as Pete Golden does an excellent job of kind of doing a better job actually than Lane Kiffin at creating culture in a very short period of time. And Ole Miss is getting everybody back. I know I thought as an LSU fan that Q1 Lacey was coming to LSU. I thought that we were going to get Trinidad Chambliss as well, but they all stayed Ole Miss. And now it's an opportunity for Damon Williams. Unlike you see other coaches, Eric Morris took the entire North Texas team to Oklahoma State. So Oklahoma State might as well be called North Texas North now, you know, because they're pretty much, the whole Oklahoma State team is filled with their stars, including a really, really good quarterback they got in Drew Mestermaker. I think that Mestermaker has a chance of being a pro. And Matt Campbell, he takes his Iowa State team to Penn State. Good luck with that. I don't know how talented that roster was at Iowa State. Rocco Becht is a gritty kid, but I don't know if he's ready to be a Big Ten quarterback. We will see. But Damon Williams saw an opportunity like, damn, I can be the quarterback now for LSU, playing the Lane Kiffin, who I know does a great job at making the quarterback position very easy. You look at where he's coming from. If he gets a chance to get out of there, and Washington, Jed Fish runs a pro offense. A lot of checks, a lot of reads, a lot of progression. Whereas he gets over there with Lane Kiffin, he's going to just be able to play, man. So I can understand why DeMond Williams wants to leave, and I also can understand why he inked the deal for the $4 million. But you see some trash like Brendan Soares, but I'm not going to say he's trash, but he he doesn't deserve as much money as he's getting paid at Texas Tech by his talent. I was speaking to my boy Raheem Palmer about, I think during the offseason, and my boy Jeff, because I asked Jeff to help me with this. I actually think that I'm going to start a consultation company that kind of helps these universities figure out where to put their money at in this NIL, because there's a lot of money being thrown around. And I don't want to hate on any kid from getting paid, but some of these guys are getting money that they're not worth. Simple as that. And in the long run, these universities are going to see that, they built up a lot of money in the red that could have been spent on better talent or just kept, because as I said, Sorsby definitely isn't worth what he's going to get paid at Texas Tech. And DeMond Williams wants to go try to be the guy at LSU. You got Van Buren, who was the quarterback in the bowl games, the backup last year for LSU, who looked decent in the bowl game against Houston. Well, he's going to USF now. Not a bad choice. USF will have some continuity as Alex Golden's assistant, I believe his defensive coordinator, became the head coach, as my guy Byron Brown follows him to Auburn. So just a lot of turnover in today's college football, and I'll be very interested as an LSU fan to see what becomes of the DeMond Williams situation. I'd love to see him as the quarterback, because right now LSU does not have a quarterback that can run Lane Kiffin's offense. I saw him sitting the other day with the kid from Arizona State. I don't want to get him. He can't throw the ball. He can scramble. He's athletic. Not good. Indiana has done a great job under Kurt Cignetti in the transfer portal. They basically build their team through the transfer portal, and they got Josh Hoover coming in next year, who is a really good quarterback from TCU that now the nation will know. And we saw what Kurt Cignetti did for Fernando Mendoza's career, and his prior quarterback who came over there from Ohio and kind of put them on the national stage. And he also has a really good receiver that's coming over there from Michigan State that I think that the world is going to learn about quickly when he puts on that burgundy for Indiana. So transfer portal, it's a brand new day. It's a part of college football now. Now let's go quickly through the past. As I said, we did go 9-3 on the 12 days of Christmas with one bonus that took us to 10-3. And that bonus, as I said, was Montana State squeaking by Illinois State. We had Illinois State plus 10.5. Also took Illinois State second half money line at plus 270. Outstanding job just by both teams. Hate that it comes down to a kicker. I remember losing a game like that as a sophomore. I was on the varsity team and as a sophomore, and I remember our team was in overtime battling against, I can't remember who we were playing at the time, but we end up losing in the game before the state championship because in overtime, our kicker missed the extra point. And I'll never forget, the kid was just like, he was a freshman, but a really good kicker. He probably went on to kick in college. I didn't keep up with him or anything like that, but he was in the corner just frantic, crying and kicking in the air, saying that I know one day that I can make this kick. Give me another chance, coach. But it was already too late. The season was over. And I'm sure this Illinois State kid feels exactly the same way, as he wastes a really outstanding performance by Illinois State. They played their asses off. Montana State gets it done. All-out blitz by the DC Illinois State in overtime on 4th and long. And at the time, Montana State had to get a touchdown, and they give an easy read to Lamons. If they block it up, he had his best receiver, Taco Dowdler, one-on-one. And, I don't think that Illinois State ended that game correctly, even past the unfortunate 2 misses. They could have ended the game with a field goal kick to walk off, a very manageable kick. It was maybe 30 yards or so, and they have a botch snap, and then they get into OT and get the same thing, just waste a great performance by Tommy Rittenhouse, their quarterback, man. But I would not be surprised. I don't know if Rittenhouse is a senior or not, but if he has some eligibility, and we know right now how the NCAA is, they give out eligibility like his food stamps. So I would not be surprised if he's playing somewhere else, because he's a really good quarterback that can play on the big stage as well. And I'm sure that they're going to be trying to get some of Montana State's receivers and return guys. They got some really twitchy guys over there. Exciting game. I really enjoyed it. Next, we go to Jerry's World, to the Cotton Bowl. We had Miami plus 9.5 in the group. I tweeted out that, man, Miami's going to win this game outright. If you saw it, good for you. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I also texted my boy Lance Zerline a week before, right when the line dropped, and I was like, they're giving away 9.5 points with this defense that Miami has, with those defensive ends that they have over there. The two best defensive ends on the same team in the whole country, with Ruben Bain and Akeem Messador, facing a very young quarterback in Julian Sayin, who had not been on that stage yet. As we know, the head coach for Miami, Cristobal is a former offensive lineman. He wants to blood you. And they took Ohio State to the whooping shed on the line, man. Really good job by them. Carson Beck, with his experience, was able to manage the game efficiently, most importantly, not turn over the ball. So Miami wins outright. Ryan Day's back under the microscope. You know, Ohio fans are never happy. I don't see why they're not giving them any type of reprieve, because he should have received some reprieve off the simple fact that he won a championship last year with Will Howard as his quarterback. Maybe other people are higher on Will Howard than me, but I don't think that Will Howard is a championship winning quarterback that you could build around. He did a good job of highlighting his strengths and kind of keeping him out of issues that I saw that he had in the Big 12 with Kansas State. So with this new world that we live in, man, everybody wants everything microwave. They want everything to happen quickly. No one has patience anymore. And as a sports bettor, like I am, you learn quickly that you have to look at the big picture, man. You have to take everything in. You can't be hasty in your decisions, man, because you might go 0-3 today, and tomorrow you can go 4-0. You have to take it all with a grain of salt, man, and think about winning the weeks, winning the months, instead of just worried about the days. And that's the issues that I have with today's society, period. And it's spilling all the way over into all of our sports, as we see all the coaches who really didn't deserve to be fired in the NFL. A lot of them still got the axe. If that was 10, 15 years ago, they would still be there. And you got alumni at Ohio State unhappy with Ryan Day, fresh off of a national championship. So a lot of spoiled and entitled fan bases around the world, and social media definitely doesn't help, because these ADs and presidents, they start watching what the fans are talking about on social media instead of just doing their job. All right, then next we had Oregon shuts out Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. Great defensive matchup. I have Oregon, as you guys know, if you follow the show, at plus 900 pre college football playoffs. As soon as they gave everyone their spots and we figured out what was going on, I really liked that side, and I felt like Oregon could get it done. Have one ticket on them at plus 900 to win it all, and at plus 310 to make the final. So I'm in a really hedgeable spot. Even though they're the underdogs during the game, if they go up at any time against Indiana, I can hedge my bet. They handled Texas Tech 23-0. If you watch the show, you remember I talked about Texas Tech, and the issue that they were going to have was going to be with their quarterback. I just, even though Barry Morton led the Big 12 in completion percentage, I always felt like it was fluff. It was not real stats, as most of his passes were simply play action, and he throws it to the outside. His receiver's just better than the cornerback holding him. And he didn't have to get through a lot of progressions. He didn't have to do a lot of work from the pocket, and a lot of the game was never on his shoulders. There were never any moments really in the Big 12 where he had to win the game. And I always worried about that, man. They had a lot of blowouts, and now he's going to be replaced with Sorsby. He probably doesn't make it to the NFL. I don't know if Barry Morton tries to play in UFL or CFL, or he just goes and sells insurance or something. But definitely Oregon is the real deal, and I can't wait to watch them in a rematch against Indiana coming up. A lot of people think Miami is the second best team in these playoffs. I think Oregon is. Then we had Indiana making Alabama completely quit at the Rose Bowl. We haven't seen a performance like that from Alabama in many, many years. I lost that one. I'm going to always bet the Crimson Tide. And this, as we said, big picture, I can never be upset at myself for taking Alabama with 7.5 points against Indiana. Even though we know that Indiana was the better team with the better quarterback, too much talent on Alabama. Caleb DeBoer has shown over the years to be an excellent head coach. I'm not going to lay 7.5 points against them. Bad beat, bad break, bad handicap. Just a bad beat, you know. It's just, I look at it that way. They just beat them down, but it still was a bad beat because my handicap, I don't feel like was wrong. I'm not. It's just traditionally, why would I think that Indiana was going to jump to 7.5, no matter how good they've been this year? I always try to remember what's on the side of the helmet, what's on the front of the jersey, more than what's on the back of the jersey. So I take that L right there as Alabama goes home. And now Ty Simpson is going to the league. I don't think he's a starting NFL quarterback, but hey, maybe he lands in the right spot like Brock Purdy did. And if he lands in the right spot with the right OC, very coachable kid, smart. His dad still is a head coach. His dad is the head coach for, I believe, Tennessee Martin in division in FCS football. So his dad said this morning that all of the scouts he spoke to, all the NFL scouting department said that he was a first-round grade. So he was coming out. And it makes sense because this is a really weak quarterback class. They thought last year was weak. I told you guys leading into this year in August that this was going to be one of the weakest quarterback drafts we've ever seen. And it is most of the guys now that they were thinking that were going to be good or coming back, or they just didn't pan out. For instance, Cade Klubnik, he's not going to get drafted. If he does, it'll be late 5th, 6th round or something like that. Maybe because Mr. Irrelevant or something, because all the snaps that he's seen in college. Then you have guys like Sellers, Leonard Sellers at South Carolina. You got guys like Arch Manning, who I told you just hadn't had enough snaps. They just weren't ready to be in a position to be a number one pick leading the team. I've always been high on Dante Moore since he was at UCLA as a freshman, but even with him, he only has 20 starts in college football. I don't like that. You look at the other side, Fernando Mendoza, you look at Carson Beck from Miami, they have a lot of snaps, a lot of snaps, man. 20 starts is just too little for to throw Dante Moore into the Jets. But I'm sure that he's probably going to have to come out because we're going to say the max that maybe Oregon can offer him is maybe sit. They can offer him whatever, but I'm sure they don't want to set a ridiculous precedent. You don't want to where now these college kids are making more than a first-round pro quarterback. And the first-round pro quarterback usually gets about $12 million right now. So I don't see Oregon offering him that much to stay. But it makes sense even if he has to eat $5 million to say maybe, hey, I'll take this $7 million, get more snaps under my belt. We'll come out probably preseason #1 with Oregon, and I'll be a Heisman candidate. But also I can see the other side. His advisors and his parents might tell him, look, bro, you from Detroit. Go get that money. Like, go get the money. You're never going to have a chance to be this highly drafted because next year's class is going to be stacked at quarterback. So I definitely think that Dante Moore has an opportunity to come out, but I do understand why Ty Simpson is coming out. It's kind of like you got to move when the fire's hot and everything's working out its way where now he'll be like the second or third drafted quarterback most likely. So I understand. I don't think he's going to have a lot of success at all in the NFL, but I hope that I'm wrong because I want all these young quarterbacks to do well. But what I've seen on film, the higher and the better the competition got with Ty Simpson, he kind of became a shell of himself, and he's not that athletic, doesn't have that strong of an arm, but he is a Mac Jones type of quarterback, which works in the NFL. And the last game that we'll go over for the past was Ole Miss shocking Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. I had Ole Miss plus 6.5. My guy Trinidad Chandler, August 24th, baby, like myself, continues to just be that guy, man. Really, really good quarterback. top 8 player in the whole country, man. And he was the same thing at Ferris State in Division II. He was the Heisman winner. He won the championship. So it's just doing it on a different level. Pete Golden, what a job by him coming in as being a defensive coordinator. And this guy must be a really likable dude, because the culture he set with Lane Kiffin gone shows me that he was already really a very popular guy amongst his players. He's from Hammond, Louisiana, old Louisiana boy like myself. So I'm sure that he made everyone feel at home, and he did a really great job not allowing for Lane Kiffin to poach all of his talent from Ole Miss. Now they're on a run, and I think they have a really good opportunity next week. That leads us right into it. Let's get right into the present, man. First game we're going to talk about is the aforementioned Ole Miss Rebels. They'll be playing the suddenly hot Miami Hurricanes. The game goes on in Arizona, man, at the Fiesta Bowl. There's some really special games out there at the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona, not too far from me here in Vegas. This game boils down to as simple as this. It's physicality versus finesse. You got Carson Beck, who's an elite game manager, because that's pretty much what they've turned him into. At Georgia, he threw it down the field a little bit more than he does at Miami, but he's only averages 7 air yards per attempt at Miami. Mario Cristobal realized that early in the year, especially if you look back at that Louisville game, I think it was a Friday night game that everybody got smacked on when Louisville upset Miami. Carson Beck cannot drop back 40 times and throw the ball. He's going to turn the ball over. He did the same thing at Georgia. He throws interceptions. That's why you have to manage him. He has a good arm. He's, precise kid in the medium range game. He works really well, and that's what they figured out how to do, man. And they've also started leaning more on Mark Fletcher. The emergence of Mark Fletcher has been huge for everything that Mario Cristobal wants to do. 225-pound back. This guy is amazing, man. He's averaging 5 yards after contact. Now, that's something serious right there. So after you make contact with him, he's getting 5 more yards after that. That's his average in these college football playoffs. He was the difference in that A&M game and in the difference in Ohio State game. He actually fumbled in the Ohio State game, bounced back, and still played really well. My favorite player on that whole Miami team is probably Malachi Tony. This is one of the best freshmen that we've ever seen come through college football. I can't wait to see him in the pros. He's a real gadget guy. I would love for him to get in a system like Andy Reid has or something over there at Kansas City. He's just a really, really solid player, man. He can do it all. He played quarterback in high school. Now he's a receiver, return guy, running back kid out of Florida, a true Florida speedster, man, and probably been playing football since he could walk, man. Malachi Tony is that guy. Not one, 0 drops. Pardon me. Forgive me for that, Malachi. Malachi Tony has no drops this season out of 120 pass attempts in his direction. That's unbelievable. He's over 1K receiving yards. Like I said, he's going to be a complete star in the NFL for sure. Also, when you think about Miami, you got to think about their defense, man. The defense is outstanding. Ruben Bain, Akeem Mesidor, the 2 bookends, best 2 defensive ends together on one team in the entire country. Miami has the best defensive line, I'd say, left in the playoffs. They went and played 2 really other good defensive lines and outshined both of those different cores. They were Texas A&M has a great defensive line. They were not as effective as Miami was in that game. Ruben Bain took it personal. And then you come back Ohio State. Of course, they have a great defensive line. And what do you see from Miami when they lock in with them? Man, they took over the game. 7.5 sacks already in the college football playoffs between Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. Matter of fact, they have 12 sacks as a unit for the whole season. So that's outstanding. Miami is going to play tough on the offensive line and defensive line, because that's what Mario Cristobal is about. And he really has those guys going in the trenches. Offensively, they try to control the ball. They're sixth in time of possession in all of college football. As I said, not a lot of playmakers on the outside of Tony. You got C.J. Daniels, who came over from LSU, but he's not much of a burner, just a really reliable guy, good hands. But they get you with running the ball, screens. They want to win on first and second down to get in third and short and control the ball. And that has to be their game plan going against Houdini. That's what they call Trinidad Champions. You see fans now from Mississippi flying Trinidad and Tobago flags. Shout out my homegirl from Trinidad, Joyce, that we go way back many years. She's from Trinidad, and we went to Trinidad, and it was nice, man. Don't ever call anyone from Trinidad, Jamaica, and they'll kill you. So shout out to the country of Trinidad, Tobago. But they're flying these Trinidad flags in these games. But they asked Chambliss, had he ever been to Trinidad? He said he's never been in his life before. He's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Greatest find in the history of Ole Miss. He's already, in my opinion, surpassed Archie Manning and Eli Manning. I know Archie Manning won the Heisman and all that stuff. So I don't care. Trinidad Chambliss is the best quarterback, probably best player to ever come through Ole Miss, just already in one season. And what's crazy is he didn't even start the beginning of the year. You guys know I was very high on Austin Simmons, left-handed, very athletic kid. He played baseball, could have went to pro in baseball as a pitcher, and also he played football for Ole Miss. Left baseball to concentrate strictly on being a QB1 because he loves playing quarterback. Ends up getting hurt and never gets back in the game because when Trinidad Chambliss took over, I think they went to LSU, and he had the game, one of the best games of the season. And after that, Lane Kiffin was like, I'm riding with the hot hand, and I'm sure that the Ole Miss alumni are really glad that they did. I feel like Chambliss, in my opinion, is right up there with Mendoza and Moore as the top quarterbacks left in these playoffs. And the difference between him and the other guys is he brings a different level of athleticism, man. Athleticism with a great head on his shoulders. It's not too many guys like him. Maybe Tua when he was in college, Russell Wilson in the pros, who are scrambling, can do second reaction plays and moving fast, but still while moving fast can protect the ball and make great decisions. He's special, man. And they have so many playmakers on that offense for Ole Miss. You got Kewan Lacey, Dejon Stribling. Dejon Stribling leads the whole country in yards after catch. Deuce Alexander, the kid Lee over there. Lane Kiffin did a great job building this roster. All of the things that he did at Florida Atlantic just took him to another level with top-notch recruits, man. And the thing that I like about that offense is you don't know who's going to beat you. They got a tight end that could beat you as well. You got Lacey. You got all these receivers. And then when you try to get pressure on Chambliss, now he's going to scramble. And when he scrambles, that's when he's really in his element. But he can also play from the pocket and work through his progressions. He's only been sacked 8 times this season. So all of the stuff that really people are leaning on to say why Miami is going to win might not be a factor in here. Because if they're a team that deals with sacks and getting yards for loss, they're not going to get a lot of them against Ole Miss because Ole Miss plays so fast, so quick. Chambliss gets rid of the ball really quick. I kind of use as a yard marker for this game how Miami struggled against SMU. Kevin Jennings and Trinidad Chambliss have games very similar, except I probably say Trinidad Chambliss is maybe a half of an inch better. Not much at all, because you know, if you guys been watching the Waging Word, what I think about Kevin Jennings. He lifted SMU to the college football playoffs last year. They just dominated Arizona and won a bowl game. They couldn't do anything with him in Miami because the defensive line got so frustrated because they're used to getting the guys and getting them on their back, but he's getting rid of the ball, and when they do get there, he's getting away. Kevin Jennings threw for 365 in that game, and SMU was able to upset Miami. I expect something similar to that in this game. As long as Ole Miss, who has a very underrated defense, remember now, they're an offensive-minded team, which is good when you have a defensive coordinator as the head coach. A lot of times it's the opposite. You'll have a team with an offensive head coach, offensive team. Ole Miss, with what happened with them losing Lane Kiffin, it kind of work to their favor because Pete Golden is thinking about how to stop people. The offense is already on automatic. It's going to run itself because of the smarts of Trinidad Chambliss and also with the OC Charlie Weiss Jr. coming back. So I think that Ole Miss is for sure going to cover this game. You don't give up points against a team with an offense like Ole Miss. That's just one of my rules in betting sports. I have to live with the consequences. They got to turn the ball over, something they haven't done all year, in order for me to see Miami covering 3.5 against Ole Miss, because Ole Miss is never dead. We saw Georgia was up 9 points at halftime last week. Chambliss is going to keep shooting. Ole Miss has the athletes to keep shooting, and they get chunk plays. They aren't getting 2 yards in a cloud of dust. They're hitting you for 20s, 15s at a time, 30s at a time. I love Kewan Lacey. His shoulder got hurt last week, but I think he'll be okay. They'll shoot him up, and he'll be ready for this one. Give me Ole Miss plus the points, and I'm actually picking Ole Miss to be in the national championship. I think it's their year. I think that they're going to use this as a story to try kind of prove to people that, yeah, Kiffin left, but look how good this team did without him. Maybe guys should think more and more about staying where they're at instead of running off to the next place. My guy's asking about Mississippi's team total over 23.5. I got to believe they can get to 24 points, man. I mean, people are acting like Georgia is just some run-of-the-mill team now. And the only loss that Ole Miss has on the schedule, they're 13-1. They lost to Georgia, and they revenged it last week. Ole Miss is flying under the radar, man. And as I said, it actually might have benefited them that they lost Lane Kiffin, because Lane Kiffin is going to coach the team in an offensive point of view. Pete Golden is going to concentrate on figuring out ways to get the ball back to that potent offense, man. So I'm on Ole Miss on this one. I think that they're the story of college football, man, and I think that Ole Miss is going to get it done. Shout out to all my family in Vicksburg, Mississippi. That's where my father, rest in peace, all his roots are at. My aunts, all of them, they all, my great-great-grandfather, they all from Vicksburg, moved to Monroe, Louisiana. From Monroe, Louisiana, migrated to Houston and California and Kansas City and places like that. But it all started right there in Vicksburg, Mississippi. So Rebels represent. I think that they have the team to get this one done. And I think that people are sleeping on them. And because Miami beat Ohio State, now people are, thinking that Miami is this juggernaut. But at the end of the day, guys, it's all about matchups. Each week is different. It's about matchups. And I think that Ole Miss matches up really well with Miami. I think that their style of offense will eliminate the things that Miami are really good at, and that's like getting to the quarterback, man, and dominating at the line. So I'm going to take the quarterback, and I'm going to take finesse this time over physicality. All right, so let's get to the next game. The next semifinal, Oregon versus Indiana. Rematch early in the year. Indiana's laying 3.5. The over and under is 47.5. Off the most, I don't bet a lot of unders in games. You guys know I always talk about that on here. I like betting overs if I'm going to bet a total. I rarely bet unders, but I definitely would lean to the under on this game. I think that this game, even though it's indoors in Atlanta on a fast track, I think that the defensive units for both of these teams are outstanding and really good. I think that Fernando Mendoza, even though he beat Oregon the last time they played in Oregon, I think that Dan Lanning is going to have something drawn up to kind of slow him down this game. Dan Lanning, he's a jerk. You guys know, if you've been watching it for 2 years, Dan Lanning is not one of my favorite guys. But what I do, I cannot like you personally and still respect your craft. Dan Lanning is a hell of a head coach. He's a hell of a DC. And he's up right now on Adderall and probably some blow. As we speak, he probably hasn't been to sleep this whole week. All he's been doing is breaking down film and trying to figure out how to stop Indiana. And I think he's going to get it done. And we heard what Kurt Signetti said. They don't practice as much as Indiana. They're a confident team. They've been winning all year. They, follow their head coach's lead. But if you look at these rosters, Oregon is the most talented team maybe in the country, especially if Evan Stewart plays. I don't know if he's playing or not, but they got speed everywhere on Oregon, and then they have a solid, rock solid defense as well that likes to muck it up. You got DJ Uiagalelei's brother over there. Man, Oregon is good, and Indiana is a great story. I think Indiana's a great story, a great team. I think that Oregon has great talent, and I'm gonna always take talent at the end of the day, as long as talent is performing at its highest level. Dante Moore should have a lot of redemption in his mind in this game. He threw a couple interceptions, I think 1 or 2 interceptions against Indiana at home. I just like teams on the second time around against other teams in the playoffs in win or go home situations when they lost to them earlier in the season. I caught 4.5 at the time. This is another one. I text my guys over at ESPN Houston and told them I was going to be on Oregon. Now it's down to 3.5. So the number's dropping. So obviously, there's a lot of people who agree with me on that number. And so I just think that, man, end of the day, I'm not laying points in this one. Another thing going in our favor is guys who bet sports and understand this. What did we see last out of Indiana? Indiana just dominated Alabama. Alabama is as blue blood as it gets when it comes to football. So with people just seeing this dominant performance out of Indiana, they're going to kill them. They beat them earlier this last year. That's exactly how the books want you to think. It's a reason this line is so short. It's a reason the line is only at 3.5, man. So as a veteran sports bettor who's been doing this for 20 years and consulting for 20 years, I'm letting you know, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. If they thought that Indiana was clearly better than Oregon, we would have saw the same number, the same trap number that they had against Alabama when they laid 7. Anytime you see that 7 and hook, and I know that, it's just that Alabama name and how much money I made with Caleb DeBoer from Washington to Alabama, it's no way that I'm going to go against my system, because long term, my system always works. I could take an L here, an L there. Long term, it always works. So I'm not going to go against my system. But one of my betting rules that kind of contrasted with my system was that when I see a 7 and a hook, it's usually a blowout. And it was this time, because they're bagging you with the fact that they want you to say, oh, they got to keep it in the touchdown. They can keep it within the touchdown. If the bookmakers, the AI programs thought that the best way to trick you as a bettor would be to put out there that Indiana was laying 7.5 and they would allow them to blow out Oregon. With them putting out that short number, with Indiana coming off of a really monstrous performance and winning by 10 points in Eugene, and the line's only 3.5, line looks fun. It's probably money, man. I'm rolling with the Oregon Ducks. As I said, I have them at plus 4.5, but I also have a lot riding on this, because if they win, I hit for 3-1 on them to make the finals, and then I'm in a super great spot at 9-1 for them to win the championship. I've said it all year. I just think that Dan Lannon is a madman. He's a mad scientist. He's one of the few head coaches who brings energy, toughness, and X and O's. He's a really solid coach, man. He could coach in the NFL if he wanted to, man. He's a Mike Tomlin type of guy to me. He's one of those guys who just brings intensity, but he's also very smart, man. So, yeah, I'm rolling with the Oregon Ducks plus the points. All right, let's get to – I want to talk a little bit about the NFL coaching carousel. We got, as you know, Black Monday came along. Some guys got it on Sunday, so it was Black Sunday for some people. Talk about these head coach openings real briefly, because I got to get out here in a second. It's almost time to go grab my son. All right, so Ravens. Everyone's feeling all sad for John Harbaugh. I posted that when they put it up on ESPN, they had it as if it was a memorial, like as if he had died or something when they said that he got fired from the Ravens. But I know that Lamar and the young guys are kind of like good riddance. I compared it when I've been speaking to people about the firing of John Harbaugh to similar to when you become of age as a young man and you're at home and your dad, you start finishing his sentences with sarcasm, because you're tired of hearing it. You kind of, you got to the age where you want to try your own stuff. I think that's what's going on with Lamar and Harbaugh. It's like, okay, you got me to this point, dude, but we've been stuck at this point in neutral forever. And only person who continues to take the blame, Harbaugh has a Super Bowl. The only person that continues to be blamed for the failures of the Ravens is Lamar Jackson. But if you watch all of the games they lost in the playoffs, you can rarely find a game just like the one against the Steelers where it was actually Lamar's fault. Like he has them at the point to win. Something goes wrong. Someone fumbles. Someone drops a ball. Someone misses a kick. So he kind of got tired of that. He's trying to get over the hump. The ownership is one of the best in the whole sports. And he decided to go with Lamar, his young star, his two-time MVP. Not as young as he used to be, just turned 29 today. Happy birthday to Lamar Jackson. But now we see how the Ravens are post John Harbaugh. And I'll be really interested to see who they get in there to work with Lamar. I'm a big Cliff Kingsbury guy. I feel like if you got a quarterback with skills, get Cliff Kingsbury in there. Ravens already have a very defensive mindset. Cliff Kingsbury is one of those head coaches that he's already, I guess, failed, you could say, in Arizona, but did he? Because that's the only time the Kyler Murrays went to the playoffs. But Cliff Kingsbury is a guy that I think that deserves another opportunity with the right type of quarterback, especially when I'm just coming off of working with Jaden Daniels and what we saw. I think that if he's the head coach for Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson probably wins the MVP again. He's going to be definitely motivated, and he'll be healthy. People are thinking he lost some juice. No, he was hurt, man. He's hurt. That's all. And some people are saying Brian Flores for the position. I don't know if Brian Flores and Lamar's personalities will mesh well, but we'll see. You got the Giants. They fired their coach during the season. Weird because Daboll was getting along really well with Jackson Dart. So we'll see how Dart does post Daboll. When you think about the Giants, I'd say this. They have their number one receiver, Neighbors. Hopefully comes back okay off the ACL. Sometimes it takes 2 years for the guys to get back to themselves. Great defensive line over there. So they get to the quarterback. If they can get the lead early, they're set up to be really successful. Dart is a guy compared to Brett Favre. He could be a real playmaker, does some silly stuff. We can get knocked out the game, but no one can deny that Jackson Dart can play his ass off. You know, he really impressed me. And then his boys coming back too, Scatterboo. Those two are two kids that bring a different type of joy and excitement to the locker room that with the right coach, they can definitely be successful. Got the Titans. You shouldn't even want to. If I'm a head coach, the only person who should try to take the Titans job is a guy who was like an assistant and nobody's looking at it. If I'm a premier head coach like John Harbaugh, it's no way in hell I'm going mess around with the Titans. Anyone who leaves Nashville becomes a better player when they get to different organizations. I don't know what's going on over there. Then you go to the Falcons. The Falcons have a great roster. Arthur Blank moves off of Raheem Morris a year too early, in my opinion. He should have let Raheem Morris and Fontenot stay around. The GM had some really good picks. I don't know if he's still ticked off at him for going over his head and taking Michael Penix. Penix ends up getting hurt. Penix also has underperformed with what we thought he was going to do, but this is only his second year as a starter. Long-term, they got a hell of a nucleus with Penix, Drake London. Bijan Robinson is the best player in the NFL right now. Like, you'd be hard to find anyone who would say, I'm sure when they do the top 100, he'll be a top 3 player in the whole NFL, man. Bijan Robinson is special. So Atlanta's a great job. I'm hearing that Matt Ryan is now running things. So hopefully for the Falcons that they don't do what the Raiders did and pass it to a quarterback that they trust, an old legend, and he ends up ruining things because he's never been in this situation to run a team before. But I'm hearing that Matt Ryan really likes Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur was his offensive quarterback coach when he went to the Super Bowl. They have a tight relationship. And if you know, Matt LaFleur is on a contract year in Green Bay. So there's a chance that Green Bay allows Matt LaFleur to walk, or maybe he, on his own goes to Atlanta and they can work out a trade or something. But I think Matt LaFleur would be great for the Falcons. That's who they should be trying to get if they can make that happen. Arizona Cardinals, it's time to move off of Kyler Murray. Free that man. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, send him to Pittsburgh, let him run around over there and give just enough offense for that defense. But you need to free him. the Bidwells who own Arizona are going to always be able to do nothing and still, make money because they were one of the original ownership groups going all the way back to the St. Louis Cardinals and stuff. So they're not going anywhere. But one of the more poorly ran organizations, and they're kind of like, I look at them as when people say the WWE, they're like that lovable loser type of wrestler who just used to go up there and get beat up by Hulk Hogan. Like the guys who everyone knew who they were, but they weren't going to win shit. That's kind of how the Cardinals are. So that's another job I would not take. Jonathan Gannon sealed his doom when he decided to push his running back during that game. He showed that he had no control over that team. And if you notice, after that, everything plummeted. They were playing pretty good up until that point, and then like the wheels fell off because players are going to stick together. And all these guys are grown men. They don't want to be disrespected by their coach, especially a little young guy like how Gannon was. He was off the hook. He needs to calm down, go back, go be a DC somewhere, man, and learn how to learn self-control. You got the Browns. The Browns, to be successful, it's obvious that the owner believes in Shador and Andrew Berry. He kept them. Let's go Stefanski. I don't know how much Stefanski's agent is paying the media. I don't know what he's done before with the media, why they love him so much, but it's really weird to me because Kevin Stefanski is not as good as people are acting as he is. Like, he's had how many coaches have you seen have 6 seasons in the NFL, lose 4 of them, and the 2 that he wins 11 games in, he wins Coach of the Year? Like, I don't know what's the media's obsession with Kevin Stefanski, but I truly believe that the Browns made the right move for the future. Their owner isn't trying to move Shador because Shador brings so much money. The Browns have never been talked about as much as they've been talked about since Shador Sanders showed up. So he has to find – that's another place I'd like to see maybe a Cliff Kingsbury. He has to find – Andrew Berry needs to hire a coach who believes in what they have in the building, add through the draft, and they'll be okay. I always feel like it was a major disconnect between Stefanski and the quarterback room. Like, he obviously did not want Shador to be his quarterback. Like, he showed it over and over again with his decisions and things like that. And sooner or later, I think the call came from up top and he was forced to. He's supposed to be the hottest name. We'll see where he goes. We'll see how it goes. But he hasn't showed me anything. I feel like he's the Justin Herbert of head coaches. Like, it's always about potential and it's never his fault. But they love him and they love to pump him up. And then lastly, right here in Las Vegas, the Raiders. I think the Raiders is a really good job to take right now. You got the number 1 pick, which is going to be Fernando Mendoza. I think he's a franchise quarterback. He definitely has the mind state to be one. Him working with Brady is going to be lights out because Brady and him are very similar in the fact that they're football nerds, and maybe he'll bring Mendoza out of his shell and kind of like how Brady did over the years. And he started, dating hot girls and stuff, but he kept his same nerdy type of, approach when it came to playing the quarterback position. And I think that Fernando Mendoza is going to be really good here for the Raiders. They also already have their running back, Ashton Genty, showed some promise this year. They need to build an offensive line, get some more weapons on the outside. But I'd take the Raiders' job if I'm a head coach with some opportunities, just because, one, you live in beautiful Las Vegas. It's one of the best markets to coach in. A lot of players would want to, come here as free agents. And also, you're just getting a chance to start from brand new and build what you want to build. You got an owner who's willing to allow his head coach some room to do what he wants. Tom Brady is going to be the guy that makes that decision. I'm hearing Brian Flores. We'll see. All right, guys, it's time to get to and going to wrap this show up. Let me get to the wild card games. Let's start first. And I'm going to just go brief. I'm not going to get my final picks on these till Friday. Ski and I will be back on Friday, and I actually give you some plays on these. I'm just going to run through them real quick. Got the Rams going to Carolina. It's the biggest mismatch on paper in the NFL playoffs right here. But if you dig in a little bit deeper, you'll see that it's not as big as a mismatch as the numbers suggest. For one, it's going to be raining. So as long as the weather stays the way that it sounds like it's going to be, it's going to slow down the Rams' explosive offense. They're going to have to run the ball, which they do very well with Kyron Williams. I don't know if is Blake Corum hurt. I think he's hurt, but I know Kyron Williams is going to run the ball well, and we know that McVay, even though he's known for this like fast-paced, high-scoring offense, he also knows how to call great run plays and also knows how to, muddy it up if he has to as well. We've seen him do that with Gurley and now Kyron Williams. So the thing that I want to think about in this game is Matthew Stafford. How many times has Matthew Stafford been good in the playoffs? Really not many. If you look at his career, he has a playoff record of 5-5. 4 of those wins came during the 2021-22 season when they won the Super Bowl. Besides that, he's 1-4 in the playoffs. So, 1-5 in the playoffs. So, not a lot of success in the past from Stafford in the playoffs. Sean McVay has been really good in the playoffs. 8 wins, 5 losses, 2 Super Bowl appearances. They're the veteran team. You look on the other side, Carolina has nothing to lose. They're not even supposed to be here. They back into the playoffs at 8-9 off a loss. Some crazy tiebreaker system. I really think that the Falcons were the best team out of that division. But they're there. And now that they're there, it's something to build on. You do have a really sound quarterback in Bryce Young, a kid who's playing his first playoff game, but he's shown in the past at Alabama that he's a guy that rises to the occasion in big games. So I would not be surprised if we see a solid performance from Bryce Young. As I told you, it's going to be raining. You got Ted McMillan going against that Rams secondary, which isn't that good. But now can you block up that defensive line and Jared Verse long enough to allow Bryce Young some time? One thing to watch is the Panthers aren't good at stopping the run. And as I said, it's going to be really rainy. They're bottom 10 in rush yards allowed, rush attempts against, and yards per rush. People want to run the ball on them. They do run the ball on them. So I think the Rams get this one done. I don't know if they get it in a blowout fashion as the book suggests. Next game, Soldier Field. The Bears host the Green Bay Packers. Old rivalries, the oldest rivalry in the NFL. They just played a couple weeks ago, and it was a classic as the Bears come up just short. Matt LaFleur has an outstanding record against the Bears. I want to say he's never lost to them before. This might be the first time. Matt LaFleur is halfway out the door with his mind. I could tell he didn't look too excited last week. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. Their season came to a screeching halt because Micah Parsons, man, now Jordan Love's banged up and hurt, couldn't play. You got Willis who's hurt, his backup. The receivers are doing what the receivers always do. They're dropping passes. So I heard that the weather's going to be horrendous in Chicago that week, real windy and cold. The Bears run the hell out the ball with the rookie running back they have and DeAndre Swift. Also, I just really believe Ben Johnson is one of those guys who's going to step it up in the playoffs and call some of his best plays. When you got a game with a lot of wind where it's going to be difficult to throw the ball, you like a running quarterback, and Caleb Williams definitely is a quarterback who they can get on the edge. He can get things done with his legs as well as his arms. He also has a really strong arm to throw through the wind. Jordan Love has a more precision arm. So, and I know that the Packers can run the ball. They've, been their basis the last couple of years has been more about running the ball. But even with that said, I just think that the Bears are going to be really hyped for this game. I think that their fans are going to be really, really intense. So I lean the Bears on this game. But remember, none of these plays are official. I'm still digging into them right now. My main focus is college football. By Friday, when I come back on here with Ski right here on my channel, you will definitely get an opportunity to hear who I'm playing. Hit that like button right now if you're rocking with the Wager World, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it on my channel. Once again, go to www.thewageringworld.com to get merchandise as you see right here. It's us versus the machine. Y'all support me because I always support you guys. All right, let's get to the next game. There you go. It's time for the Josh Allen reckoning. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills travel to Jacksonville. Jacksonville is catching 1.5 at home. Over and under 51.5. Josh Allen has led the Bills to 5 consecutive AFC East championships until this year. They've won that conference, but who were they playing? Like, they were beating up a bunch of trash. Now the Patriots have risen up, and Drake May is now maybe, superseded him, at least 1A, 1B, because Drake Bay very much might win the MVP this season. I think he's the favorite. Overall in the playoffs, Josh Allen kind of carries on the tradition that we've seen from the Bills with Jim Kelly. Like, they can get so far, but they can never get it done. He's 7-6 overall in the playoffs. You look at his coach, Sean McDermott, not too good in the playoffs, 7-7. They've lost in the AFC Championship game twice. Other side, you got Liam Cohen. I really like Liam Cohen. This is his first experience, much like Dave Canales, much like Ben Johnson. I kind of like new blood. I like guys with, no past record, just a clean slate. I think that he's going to have them offensively for sure ready to play. In Jacksonville, you got Trevor Lawrence, who has a very memorable the 1 year he went to the playoffs, they went 1-1. Very memorable game as he threw 4 interceptions in the first half against the Chargers, but storms back from down 27-0 and led one of the greatest comebacks we've seen in the pro football playoff history. So I think that Lawrence has a lot of heart. He's more confident than ever now, man. So I personally think that the books are going to eat on this game. I think that all of the Josh Allen fans, all of the people who took the Bills preseason for Super Bowl are going to be cut short this year, and it's going to lead to the Bills firing Sean McDermott, getting in an offensive-minded coach for this last run that Josh Allen has in his prime, because Josh Allen turns 30 this year, man. Time moves fast. I still remember him as a kid playing at Wyoming, and I was betting him and tweeting like, hey, y'all guys ever heard this kid, Josh Allen? He's amazing. Now look at him. He's, been in the league forever now, man. He has a dubious record. He has the most playoff wins, tied with the old San Diego Chargers quarterback as the most wins, Phillip Rivers, and the most wins in the playoffs without getting to a Super Bowl. So if he wins in Jacksonville this week, he passes the OG and becomes the guy with the most playoff wins to never have reached the Super Bowl, man. I just like how Jacksonville is playing right now. They're playing like one of the best teams in football. And as I said, I think it's time for Sean McDermott and Josh Allen to part ways. I think that Josh Allen needs a more offensive-minded coach. If you got Sean McDermott there, you're supposed to be lights out on defense, and they haven't been. I know they had some injuries, especially missing Ed Oliver, who's kind of like the heart of that team, the Houston boy that's the heart of the defense. Milano's in and out the lineup. They have no real cornerback over there. They have no number one cornerback over there. So he's working with a little, but it was a time a couple years ago when they had a loaded roster on defense and offense, and he couldn't get it done. Now the Bills are moving to a dome. I think they're going to change the way that they play. They're going to become an offensive first team and try to score a lot of points, and they're scoring a lot now. As you see, the books got a 51.5 up in this game, so they expect a lot of points in this being a shootout. But I do lean Jacksonville on this game at home. Let's see what we got it for these comments. My girl Shawnee on here. What's up? I appreciate you always tuning in, always rocking with the wagering world. Y'all throw up your world signs right now if you're rocking with the wagering world. All right, let's get to the best game probably this weekend, and that's going to be the 49ers at the Eagles. Eagles laying a -4.5. Oh, man. This was tough. This is going to be a real tough one to decide on, bro. These are two really good teams. Shout out DS Griff, my dog. What up, baby? You want to grab that merch? Pay it out, Vegas. www.thewageringworld.com. I appreciate it. DM me also. I'll get it to you. What's up, J Cash? Glad to have you in here, brother. Let's get to this last game real quick. Niners and the Eagles. Two excellent playoff coaches, two excellent playoff quarterbacks, and two excellent playoff franchises. So this one is good, man. This is going to be a good game right here. Kyle Shanahan is 8-4 in the playoffs, 2 Super Bowl trips, 4 NFC championship trips. Purdy has been great in the playoffs. 6 playoff games as a 49er, 1343 passing, most impressive for me, 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception, guys. 96.2 passer rating over the years in the playoffs from young Brock Purdy. He's 4-2 as a starter in the playoffs. Then you got on the other side, Jalen Hurts. He's established himself as one of the best all time in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts just hits a switch in the playoffs, man. Big time player when it comes to these type of moments, man. He holds the record for the most consecutive playoff games with 20-plus passing attempts and no interceptions. Streak of 7 games that he had without throwing a pick. Overall, now he has 10 touchdown passes and only 2 interceptions through his whole playoff career. Just an awesome player in the playoffs. 6 wins, only 3 losses. Accounted for 17 total touchdowns as he's got 6 touchdowns as well on the ground running the ball. Look at Nick Sirianni. Been good in the playoffs. 6 wins, 3 losses. As you know, him and Jalen Hurts' careers kind of parallel. He's been his quarterback in the playoffs. 2 Super Bowl appearances with the victory last year to the defending champions. But the thing that I kind of worry about with Nick Sirianni and the Eagles is they're boom or bust. Like, they've had a pattern over the years of win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl, the next year losing the wild card round, you know, so they have to be careful of that. We know A.J. Brown has 1 foot out the door, so we'll see how that locker room's going, make sure that they're healthy, you know, with Jalen Carter and those guys who've been sitting out some games on the defense. But this one I have no play on. It's like it's too close to call. I have not a play on this one yet. The other games we'll break down on Friday, and we'll review these games and preview these games, and I'll really get more into the heart of what side I'm going to play and why. I definitely want to talk about the Chargers and Patriots because I got a couple homies out there who like the Chargers, and y'all know how I feel about Justin Herbert. He's not been good in the playoffs, man. Justin Herbert is one of the worst playoff performers that we've seen, man. He has a passer rate of 60% in the playoffs. He also has thrown 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His completion percentage in the playoffs has been 52%. So good luck if you're backing the Chargers in New England on a very cold and snowy night. And to add to it, he's 2-3 in cold weather games throughout his career. You got a dome team going to, you know how it is in Foxborough, whether Brady's there or not, the Lord still lives there, man. And I wouldn't want to play there on a night game in the playoffs. And also my Texans, tough one there as well, is the Steelers. They haven't lost a home Monday Night Football game since 1991. And now the Texans have to travel there and try to break that streak and win on Monday Night Football. But another thing going in the Texans' favor is that Mike Tomlin has not won a playoff game, guys, since January 8th, 2016. He's lost 7 straight playoff games. So I can't wait to talk about that one a little more. I'll probably get my play on that one on Monday. Let me give you the against the spread for all of these quarterbacks since they've been in the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence is 2-0 against the spread in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers is 12-7-1 over his long, illustrious career in the playoffs against the spread. C.J. Stroud is a sparkling 3-1 against the spread in his short time as quarterback in the playoffs. Matthew Stafford is 6-4 against the spread, being the quarterback in the playoffs. Jordan Love is 2-1 against the spread in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts is 5-4 against the spread in the playoffs. Josh Allen, 5-8 against the spread in the playoffs. Brock Purdy, 2-4 against the spread in the playoffs. He's been the favorite a lot of times, but not this year. Just something to watch, something to keep an eye on. What's up, Jay Pacino? I appreciate you, man. Shout out to you, brother. Let's keep going, Gary. It's us versus the machine, baby. All right, let's get to the Ball and Parlay so I can get out of here. I know my wife waiting to walk downstairs. She probably don't want y'all to see her sliding through the back to the garage and take her car to go get my son. And I got to get ready to give out some client plays real quick anyway, because it's almost time for some college basketball to tip out. Ball and Parlay. It's time. You already know what it is. It's time for that tennis. It's Tennessee. We're going to go to Auckland, man. We're going to roll my girl Alexandra Ela at -160 versus young girl Petra Marchenko. Marchenko is a really good player for a young girl. She's won 11 straight games, 11 straight matches, pardon me. My wife just slid out. That was the door you heard. She's won 11 straight matches, but at a lower level, 250s and 100s. She doesn't have the talent to beat Ela. I would not be surprised if Marchenko takes a set. She might take the first set, but Ela has the fight, as we saw her against Donna Vekic come back the other night. She's the #1 player in Philippines. She's a marketable girl that everyone loves in WTA, on a lot of WTA magazines, man. We're going to roll with Alexandra Ela. I think Ela gets it done at -150. All right, guys. You already know what it is, man. We got tennis going right now. We got college basketball. I've been lights out on college basketball, lights out on tennis. If you guys are interested in getting my plays, joining my group, you know what to do. You got to reach out to me on the DM. If you can't DM me, at me on the TL. I'll vet you. We'll talk. We'll see if you fit for the Supreme clientele. Until then, guys, I appreciate everyone who is rocking with 5-Star in Vegas, rocking with the Wagering World. You guys go to www.thewageringworld.com, get some gear. If you don't want to pay the fees of the shipping and all that stuff, DM me and we'll figure out a way for me to get them directly to you. I appreciate you all. As always, I dedicate this show to the greatest Houston sports fan that I know, and that's my father, John H. Lindsay. I do this for you, Dad. Hey, guys, it's always us versus the machine. This is the Wagering World.